Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today. I'm Lisa Kaye. Wow. Are you sick and tired of being defined by your disease, your sickness, your illness, your addiction, your trauma? At every turn, every time something happens that typically happen in the world, people look at you differently or expect something differently or think that your reactions to this common thing or natural thing that your reaction is due to being unwell, being sick. Just for today, can we think about some common sense? Now that's an idea. How many times do we talk about common sense? Do we ever talk about common sense in recovery? We talk a lot about being defined by our past. If we have been imprisoned, hospitalized, that follows us at every turn. I'm going to challenge you this morning. If you're tired of being defined by your disease, your illnesses, your diagnosis, your experiences, then it's got to start with you. It's got to start with you. So I'm going to challenge you this morning to just for today, which is a slogan in the rooms that just simply means, hey, can we hear something, think about something, whether it's from me or the chats. Good morning, Sharon. Good to see you on. Could we consider some value in what we hear today? Could we apply this to our lives, even if it's just for today, to see if it works? Maybe part of it work. I don't know. Maybe it's something that we don't want to do for a lifetime, but maybe this may be, right? So if you are tired of being defined by your diagnosis, your disease, your addictions, your traumas, right? I've been defined many times. Oh, you're so-and-so's mom. Your son was involved in that horrific accident, right? Or your son, is in prison. Aren't you so-and-so's mom? Yeah, I know him. And they go into the, right? You're not just you. You're not just human and standing on your own. You're just defined at every turn, right? We can't do a whole lot about what the world does, but we're going to talk a little bit about us because that's where the change has to start. How we introduce ourselves, how we treat ourselves. We show people every day how to treat us. We do. So when it comes to, I'm tired of people defining me that I'm crying and upset because same reason everybody else in the world's crying and upset. It's not because I have these diagnoses or I've been triggered. If you're tired of the world defining you, then you got to start with you. We're going to talk about that this morning using some daggum good old common sense. Seriously, if your nose is running this morning, it's probably because there's pollen in the air. Common sense tells us that let's look at that first instead of hauling ourselves to a professional who's going to charge you $500 to tell you you have an allergy to pine trees. You have an allergy to pollen. Here's a prescription for Advil, cold and sinus. How many times do we look at our physical health and our mental health and we don't use common sense and kind of think a minute, right? And there's a reason behind that. So don't beat yourself up that, yeah, you may be experiencing this just like everybody else is. But there are times that we fall back into our own unwellness because we still are carrying around some intrusive thoughts that we're not good enough. We'll never be the same, right? So just for today, it's time to get some common sense and realize that if you want people to stop treating you like you are a hot mess, then you got to start thinking. You got to start doing that, thinking for yourself, digging in, quit defining you. If you're tired of the world And their stigma, it's got to start with you. It really does. And I got a reason for talking about that this morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Candace. Good morning from Arizona. Well, Candace, it is currently 39 degrees here in Charlotte, North Carolina, Chester, South Carolina, York, South Carolina. These are the places that I will land today. Going to warm up. I bet it's not 39 degrees where you are. But yeah, that's awesome. All the way from Arizona. Wow. Thank you, Candace, for coming on. Love you for that. Love you for that. Christopher, good morning. Badass in the house, as always. And there's my very best friend in the whole wide world, Aaron Wells, just for today, giving us a little bit of time this morning as he goes in and changes the world this morning. Oh, he's telling me to stop. I must have hit a nerve. Yeah, you got to quit telling me things, bestie. Sometimes you do give me my my subjects for just for today, but that's because I love you. And I deal with the same things. You know, best friends kind of tend to have some of the same things in common, right? But yeah, I got you, Aaron. It's okay. I'm not going to call you out too much. Thank you, Candace. I love you too. I wish I could meet you. Wish I could meet you. Maybe we can talk one day, all the way from Arizona to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'd love that. Love that. But guys, let's get started this morning. I'm gonna read you something out of my recovery material. It just it got my mind to thinking last night, and I just kind of went out on a tangent, and yeah, here we go. If I hadn't messed it up, oh, here we go. Ooh, let me get my coffee too. If you work on your mind with your mind, how can you avoid an immense confusion? Just for today. How can you work on your mind with your mind? Yeah. Some of the things that I'm currently experiencing in my own recovery walk, and I keep thinking I need to go get back in therapy, or I need to go see a doctor, or maybe get on some medications. Um, and I really got moved by this, just one little thing. I dove in, and sometimes I don't try to get too deep with just for today. I just read something like that and just sit with it for a while and let my higher power just kind of wrap that thing all around me. And the next thing I know, I'm going in some kind of direction with it, because it's what's going on in my life. And that's what I bring to you for just for today. This is really isn't about you. This is about me and my recovery. It holds me accountable. It keeps me in my material, and it keeps me thinking, because I'm surely not going to slack up for you guys. Right. And if I go hard and deep for my own recovery, because I'm going to present something to you, because I want you to grow, guess who's going to benefit? Me. And I have to play little mind games with Lisa Kaye to keep me in the game, because, I've got long-term recovery from lots of different things, and yeah, this really tripped me up in my life, and made me feel unworthy, and that nobody would ever miss me if I was gone, and that because of me, so much destruction has happened in the lives of others, because we won't go into that today. But just know that I don't always have it together, and I still fall short, and I still feel like that at every turn, I got to get opinions from everybody else, and won't trust my own brain, won't trust my own common sense. All right. So just for today, I'm going to challenge you about that, because some of us feel like we have to have a paid professional to tell us what we should already know. Because if your nose is running this morning, most likely, I bet you my paycheck, you got an allergy to pollen. Right now, the pine trees are going nuts around here. So if you have a runny nose, just for today, could you consider just using some common sense around it, right? I'm stepping on your toes. I'm sorry. This is just something to shake us up this morning, get us to thinking, using common sense. Now, wow, isn't that an idea, right? Just for today, can we consider that? Can we consider that? All right. Using our recovery, in our recovery, using common sense versus running to our therapist, our peer support specialist, our doctors, at every turn, just seems to be something we get into when we are trying to get in recovery and even early on to recovery, right? Good morning, Amy. So glad you're on. I heard all kind of good things about you from Miss Sharon yesterday. So congratulations on your job and getting the hours you need and building your life again, Amy. I'm really proud of you. You hung in there. Yeah. So Amy, this is for you too, honey. Because you're a common sense kind of gal. I've spent a lot of time with you, and we learn from each other, Amy. And so this is for you too, honey. Because we share a lot in our distress around our children, and we have a lot in common, Amy. So I know that you'll get where I'm going with this. And those of you who are mothers and fathers out there who are defined by the disease, the family disease of addiction, and you feel a lot of shame and blame around that. And this is for you too, because let me tell you something. You got it going on, and you've been through a lot, and yeah, but it's got to start with you. Are you still defining you as the victim, as the person, right? So we're going to talk about this morning. See if you can get into this. Let me know what you think. Good morning, Roberta. Glad to see you are on too. Common sense, just often known as sense. I looked up the definition because it just kind of like, God, it's just common sense stuff, Lisa. And it said, common sense is a sound, practical judgment concerning everyday matters, like your nose running, or a basic ability to perceive, understand, and judge in a manner that is shared by, common to nearly all people. I used to hear all the time, that person right there, they got a lot of book knowledge, got a lot of degrees, but that person couldn't find their way out of a wet paper bag. No common sense. You get what I'm saying, right? So here we go. Here's a challenge. Guys, sometimes some of the distress that I'm currently going through, maybe you can relate. I keep giving credit to the trauma I've gone through, the triggers I might be having, the distress, the being held down, to being confused, being lied to, right? All these things that really keep us unwell. And I keep thinking that I need to go back and revisit this. I need to maybe look at medication. Maybe I need to see a medical doctor. Maybe I got, all these things going on. And so as I dug in and I read this about the mind, if the mind's trying to heal the mind, work with the mind, isn't that going to cause an explosion? Right? Our mind can really trip us up. So I wanted to dive into this common sense, because guess what? Life's going to show up. Pollen is going to make nearly everybody's nose run and sneeze and cough and sound like they got the worst head cold ever, right? But you are still going to find folks, and you might be one of them, that's going to run, shell out the money to be told, here's an antihistamine. Have a good day, ma'am. That'll be $500, please. Common sense, guys. There are some things let me go back to the I statements because I don't want to offend anybody, but for Lisa Kaye, there are things that I'm currently struggling with that had me really thinking that I was back into my unwellness. Well, when I started looking into the common sense, that's where I was led as I did my meditation and studying and just kind of followed my gut, which I truly believe is from my higher power. He punches me right in my gut or raises me up in my gut or makes me feel and pushes. And I just choose to go because, listen, I'm not the brightest light bulb out there. So I would rather trust my gut that I really believe with all my heart that is blessing me right now for turning my perceived power that I had over and trusting my higher power, right? So that's what I did. So common sense just kept saying, Lisa, let's think about this a minute. Let's think about it. So here, let's dive in. I hope you can hear something this morning that might help you get through something that you're going through and save you on your pocketbook a little bit. In our unwellness, or early on in our recovery, many of us experience not having to think for ourselves, right? We had family members and professionals doing that for us. right? Kind of got used to that, right? Bless her heart, bless his heart. He's really been through a lot. She's kind of lost all sense of herself. Now she's clean and sober, or now, she just got out of an involuntarily being committed to a hospital. So, she really can't think on her own. We're just going to have to, right? And so you learn you hear these things, until a peer support comes into your life from Promise Resource Network and says, how can I support you? Right? Instead of saying, bless your heart, honey, I know you can't think. I know that they got you all jacked up on that medicine. Or you just got clean and sober, so I know your mind's all over the place. And maybe it wasn't. But now it is, right? Because this is a new experience in recovery. Maybe you've never been clean and sober. Maybe this is a different experience coming out of a hospitalization. And so now someone's standing before you that you think is an expert telling you what you ought to feel. I'm challenging you this morning that you need to reclaim your mind. You need to reclaim your common sense. You need to trust and start building that. To me, that's simple, but next level recovery. Too many people I see and walk with every day, and I'm included, who feel like they have to run to a professional, pay the money to feel better, to live better, when what they're dealing with is pollen, stress at work, family, normal type family moments, a natural passing away of someone that's expected, you know, but you still feel the loss. You still hurt and you still grieve. Okay, common sense tells us these are normal experiences. And just because we have these things in our history doesn't mean that we're going to not feel. We're not going to have the same experience as normal people, so to speak, right? Nobody's normal, right? But you know what I mean. Yeah, y'all better go sit with Lisa because you know about her. I know that, this is kind of a normal thing, but you know about her past. She's liable to flip. And then all of a sudden, these people are gathered around you, treating you differently, and you're going, what's that? I mean, yeah, I feel sad, or yeah, I'm cool. And they're just like watching your every move, and they label you sick and unwell because of your past. And you've not done a thing but just shed some tears. Or maybe you got angry at the injustice of what just happened in our country. But they think you about to, because of your, no, are you doing it to yourself? That's where the problem starts. And it comes from hearing and receiving the help that might not have been necessarily helpful, right? And until someone tells us, girl, you can think on your own. This is your life. This is your life. You got common sense. You can get clear judgment, right? Just for today, common sense. Now that's an idea. All right, here we go. That's not in and of itself a bad thing when we are first in recovery, right? That people are surrounding us, comforting us. And it's okay that, maybe we do need people to do for us in the beginning, some of us. But it's when we can do for ourselves and should do for ourselves that our professionals, our paid professionals, and our family members don't step out of the way and they continue to do for. And we can learn and experience that maybe we don't have common sense. Maybe we're broke. And maybe because I'm feeling this today, I need to go back for this professional to just tell me how broke I am. Well, I'm here today to tell you, challenge that a little bit. Think about what you're experiencing, right? And is this common? Look around. Is everybody else blowing their nose? then it's the pollen, most likely, right? If people are feeling certain ways, think about where you're sitting right now, right? All right. Clearing your mind is where it can start. And as I dug into this, because I'm having trouble clearing my mind, I got some things going on, and I'm starting to think that I'm losing it. So when I dug into this common sense approach, I said, wow, let me give this a try, even if it's just for today, before I go running off, spending money, putting medicine in my body that maybe if I just consider using my own brain today could be helpful. And I can learn to follow my instinct, to quit defining myself as as my sickness, as my illness, as I try every day to tell the world to quit doing, but I won't do it myself. Yeah, we feel broke, right, Roberta? And we feel like our mind's broke. We got to have, tell me what to do, doctor. Tell me what to do, peer support specialist. Tell me what to do. You got to try. You got to try. And you might just find out that your common sense gear is going to kick in. You got to oil it a little bit. You got to think about it a little bit. You got to get it crunk up a little bit. Amy says common sense is a great tool. I am not my illness. Amen, Amy. You are not. You are not your illness. Mm-mm. And you do have a brain, and you can think, and you can logically figure out your needs. A lot of it starts with clearing the mind. We get too jumbled up, and I'm going to give you some common sense techniques that are going to blow your mind. I'm going to try it, started it last night, and I tell you, I feel so much better, and I'm going to continue it today and the rest of the week. I'm committed to it to see if this will help me before I go running off to have someone else tell me it's just the pollen. All right, here we go. So clearing my mind has seemed at times a waste of my time. I'm loving my life right now. Really, I am. I'm constantly thinking about making up for lost time, right? When we're unwell, we lose so much. We lose all sense of all kind of things, right? So when we get better, we want to do better, and we can take that to an extreme, right? Because we feel like time's going to run out on us. Do you feel me? Does any of you out there feel like time's going to run out on you before you can go and recapture the life you always dreamed of, right? Well, I'm one of those people. It's my last year in my 50s. This time next year, I'll be 60. And, logically, I'm thinking, how many more years I got, right? Like, dang. So that's even caused me to speed up my thinking. I want to go back and take what I feel like was stolen from me, right? Like building a career. Yeah. Saving money, reclaiming lost relationships, falling in love, thinking outside the box, and trying new creative ways to heal and grow. All these thoughts are exciting to a point until you go overboard on everything. This is Lisa talking, convincing myself I don't need that much sleep. And I stimulate myself so much to the point that it's hard to shut my mind off. And then there's the times that I sit in my disappointments, my shame, my blame, my guilt, letting intrusive thoughts, right, take over, reminding me no matter how hard I work or sacrifice or sleep I give up, I failed. I missed the mark. My purpose has long gone, and so on and so on and so on, right? These steps for me, sitting in, whether it's I'm a hot mess and I don't deserve anything, or I want to go recapture everything in the world. I want to go climb mountains. I want to jump out of an airplane. I want to go visit, my new friend in Arizona, all these things I want to go do. Either way, I can go overboard. I can't settle. These steps for me cause the same behavior to take over, going to the extreme, like I was almost self punishing myself. Still. So I've heard that a clear head, now this is where the digging in started, and then I backed out of it to say, where does this come from, Lisa? Why can't you think like this? I had to go figure out the why behind the what. I did that. We've talked about that this morning. So here you go, guys. Clear head. So this material I was into, which I thought was pretty great, very easy read, common sense kind of stuff. That a clear mind is a great way to work towards that inner peace. Because when you got 500 things exploding in your mind, right, there is no peace. It could be wonderful things, but there is no peace. You're just overloaded, overwhelmed. You're just going to the extreme. And having a clear mind can get us in the inner peace, which can improve your productivity that most of us are striving for. You want to be more productive so you can have the life that you want, right? I want to make more money. I want to get more education. Because I want to reclaim. I want to live the life that I feel like I deserve. Living with our unwellness never led us into peace, did it? And being productive was not even on my radar, right? Now that we are on our passive recovery, we are having to learn or relearn how to navigate life, just normal life, everyday kinds of things. Maintaining balance as we, climb towards the life we have dreamed of can feel like walking a tightrope, being overwhelmed. Like Roberta said, I feel like you're broken, right? Because you're still identifying with the disease because people kind of treated you like you were helpless, whatever, for so long that sometimes we can hold on to that until just for today, I'm telling you, get your power back. At times, our mind forgets our goals that we just set for ourselves, and our past creeps in. And this is where mine is going right now to remind us of all the pain we endured and all the pain we caused. Trauma, shame, blame. And don't forget, you're not enough, Lisa. You're not even worthy. You're not worthy of love, companionship, right? When somebody finds out who you are, what's happened in your past or in your family, who's going to want to be affiliated with you, right? But in the midst of this, we feel like we're working our plan. Some of us are going to NA, AA, Celebrate Recovery meetings. Some of us are going to PRN for recovery classes. We go to our treatment appointments. We go to our doctor appointments. We never miss a therapy session. We're reading every self-help book we can find that someone suggests. And some of you even have support from peer support at PRN. Just for today, could we consider just some plain old common sense? Just for today. Or following the guidance of people who have gone before us, who say, yes, it's pollen, Lisa. Just blow your nose, get some antihistamines. Don't go hand that doctor $500 for that. You know what I'm saying, right? I hope so. Could I really get aligned with peace and living my best life with applying a little common sense? Can common sense really apply to me when I'm that mother, when I'm that person who is recovering from? Just for today, are you that person that could get a clear mind, be more productive, using some common sense? I don't know. Maybe you can. Just for today, I'm trying it. And maybe you'll hear something this morning that is missing from your life. If you're a person that just stays bound and connected to your illness and can't seem to break away, can't seem to move forward with just everyday normal living, I challenge you to dig in deep about common sense. Let's go in a little bit more. We're going to wrap this thing up. Let me know what you think. But because these things didn't come from a professional, right? We question it, right? Some of these things I'm going to tell you right now, you've heard from your great grandma, you've heard from your mama, you've heard from your, neighbor down the street who's been through hell and back over the last 70, 80 years. Some of these things you have heard from the most intelligent, wise people who may or may not identify with any type of illness that you've ever had. But you've heard some of these things. Just for today, I hope that you will stop and consider adding these things to your life to find the peace, to be more productive and goal-oriented, to keep moving through the path of recovery. Because we don't want to stall. You might be like me this morning feeling like you were stalling, right? And maybe I need to go revisit my therapist. Maybe I need to up my meds. Maybe I need to go to the hospital. Maybe I need this. I don't know. But just for today, could you add in the thought process that maybe your peace and your productivity could really be improved by adding some very common sense kind of things that, guess what? This is free for you today. I won't even bill you for it. Just for today, let's trust ourselves. Let's trust our common sense around trying to get some inner peace. All right, here we go. Stop working nonstop or being engaged 24/7. How many of you have heard all work, no play? Makes you a very dull person, makes you a very unhappy person, right? It's not easy to find the end of the day when you're trying to get ahead. Some of you, me included, will literally pause from work, maybe just to drive home or to eat a little bit of supper, and then we re-engage. Now I'm not talking about this occasional you got to meet a deadline. I'm talking about consistently. We got to make up for lost time. We have to prove we are worthy. So we stay engaged in that computer even when our time clock has been punched for the end of the day at our current job that pays us. Is not going to pay you anymore, right? For the 4 or 5 or 6 hours that you just dug in, right? Finally, you could get one more report finished because nobody's looking, right? Make one more phone call. It's difficult to switch off, especially with so many of us are still working from home, right? Those free hours that we are not obligated to our boss, right? Our free time is there to build our life back. It's used to relax and to recharge your batteries. You are not the Energizer Bunny. As much as you want to believe that you are, you're not. You got to cut it off. You got to figure out how to grab and take back your free time. Maybe it's slowly, but you got to figure it out, right? So, okay, are you ready for the evidence-based therapeutic practice that can set your mind into peace? Try to set a time when you can end your workday. Isn't that a novel idea? I'm so glad somebody did evidence-based work on that. And many of us pay people to tell us that when you knew this all along because your great-great-grandma told you. You better quit all that working, Lisa. You better sit back and enjoy your life because it's going to be gone in a blink of an eye. Don't trade time to the boss, right? Instead of spending time with your children. Your children are going to be grown one day. You're going to wish you could take all those things back. It's okay in due time. you'll have what you're supposed to have. Don't get ahead of yourself, as your sponsor tells you, but you just in the quiet night sit there and type on that computer, doing reports, doing research, trying to impress, trying to show your boss that you're worthy. You don't have to prove a damn thing. You are worthy. Your free time is your time to work on your inner peace. You don't owe it to anybody. Lives will be restored. Relationships will be restored. You will become stronger. Your higher power will continue to help you get through the open doors that you need to go through. But your higher power is not going to push you to the point that you don't even know yourself anymore, and that you're doing all harm that you possibly can in the name of reclaiming your life. Just for today, could you consider thinking a little differently about that? Find a time to stop that work time and turn to your children, turn to your loved ones, turn to nature, turn to the things that you're passionate about. Plug in your charger. Allow your higher power to work in you. Allow your mind to settle. Unresolved tasks can safely wait till tomorrow. Have you ever heard, hey, don't worry about that. It'll be here when you get here tomorrow. No fairies are going to come in and do it for you while you go home. It really will get done. It's not life or death, right? And any boss that would ask you to sacrifice on a consistent basis your family, your children, your sobriety, your mental health, peace out. You got to do better than that. You deserve better than that. Think about it today, putting yourself back as number one, using some common sense. End your work day. End your school day. Recharge. Let your mind settle. Right? The other common sense free tool I'm going to give you is clean up your space. Wherever you work, wherever you study, take a few moments this weekend or this evening to clean it. It is difficult to distance yourself from the learning and the work when you are all in that laptop. That's why it's all the more important to clean up, organize your desk or your area, right? Put things on a shelf, put things away that you don't need, right? Be more relaxed when you go into that space, right? Because what happens is you want to try to stop working and you look around and you get so distracted because you look over there and you got a stack of mail like this. You're like, well, I can stop work now because now I got to go dig in that mail. Come on now. It's 9 o'clock. Your kids are knocking on the door. Your loved ones need you. There's your favorite show you wanted to sit and watch. Maybe you wanted to go out and sit in the yard and just hear the crickets. I don't know. But now all of a sudden you're looking at the mail. Start common sense, guys. Move those things away. Put it in an area that is not going to distract you at the end of your day. Be smart about it. Common sense. Put that stuff somewhere that you know you will see on a Saturday that you can take 30 minutes and run through it. Common sense. The other thing is exercise. Woo! Is that a novel idea? You do not need a professional to tell you to go move it. Go walk. Go walk 15 minutes today during your lunch break. I dare you. See if some of that peace don't start coming back. You know, there's a science about moving your body. All those things that our higher power gave us in our bodies, right? Those natural feel-goods. Go move your tail. Go walk 15 minutes. Whatever your thing is, get up and go walk. Get up. Do something that moves yourself. Common sense. We have always known that. You do not need someone to tell you to go exercise. Here's another one that you don't need anybody professionally to tell you to beware of because you have heard this your whole life. Beware of the things that can really set you off. You don't even have to call them triggers. Before you ever got a mental health diagnosis or labeled an addict, you already had things in your life that would really make you angry. You're human. Not everything you experience in life has to do with your mental health or your addiction. Some of it is just because of your age. Some of it is just because of your own DNA makeup. You can't blame everything that you feel on your past. Some of it is just human nature and applying a little common sense. Just because you're sneezing this morning doesn't mean that you were an addict and used to do cocaine. No, you're freaking allergic to pollen, most likely. See, I knew I shouldn't have done that cocaine. Look at me. I can't even. No, come on now. Quit giving the credit of just normal living, the things that, we got to go through in life on life terms. Quit giving the credit for all those things to your disease and unwellness. Because guess what? You ain't blame everything on that. I used to be a foster care director for an agency in Charlotte, and I used to tell foster parents would come in there and say, "Oh, this kid's got to go." Why? What's going on? Well, they are being disrespectful. Then she slammed the door and wants to stay on her phone. And she needs to go back to her psychiatrist, and they need to up her meds if she's going to live in my house. And I said, "Well, Miss Foster Parent, remind me again how old Mary Sue is." "Well, she's 15. Oh my God. Guess what? This kid is just experiencing normal hormones, normal teenage behavior. Ain't got nothing to do with her trauma, ain't got nothing to do with her past. She's still a 15-year-old young lady. And no doctor is going to up her psychotropic drugs because she is experiencing normal 15-year-old hormonal distress." Yeah, just for today. Right? Know who you are. Know what can really get you going, right? You know? Be ready for those things. So many of the things that we bring on ourselves is not because of our illness or our past, it's because we won't stop. We won't get off of Facebook. We won't get off of Instagram. We won't get out of browsing stuff. And all of a sudden, we get so triggered or engaged in all the things that are going on, right? It fuels that inner rest, and we don't have peace. You try to go to sleep. So that's my issue. Try to go to sleep, can't go to sleep. 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm up, right? Can't go back to sleep. Had trouble falling asleep. And every day feeling like, well, it's because I got so much great things going on. No, I won't shut it off. It's common sense. You cannot get yourself all worked up, whether it's working on stuff or just having fun on TikTok, whatever. You are stimulating your mind. And then you wonder why you can't sleep. Come on now. You need a doctor to tell you why you can't sleep. We'll call Dr. Lisa Kaye. So I challenge you today. Find a time to shut it down. And I don't mean 15 minutes before you go to bed. It is common sense, guys. You have got to treat your mind like you want your mind to respond when you're ready to shut it down. You can't get it all jacked up on caffeine. You already knew that, didn't you? That some of us can't drink coffee and Coke all the way to bedtime and expect that our bodies are going to respond normally. And you say, well, God, that's common sense, Lisa. Everybody knows you can't get jacked up on sugar and caffeine. Well, guess what? We call that common sense. You didn't need a doctor to tell you that. Same thing. Shut it down. Just for today. Find that fine line. Find it and be serious. There are literally apps that you can put on your phone. And if you want to get serious about this, you can research it. That you can have on your phone that at a certain time will shut down notifications from Instagram, Facebook, and other things, right? And really put those things to rest for you. Yeah, if you need to try that for a little, I don't know. But there's got to be a stopping point. You've got to be aware I've got to be aware that it's 9 o'clock and I'm still working. It's 9 o'clock and I'm still getting myself worked up over what I'm seeing on Facebook. I'm getting caught up into this or caught up into that. And my mind is going everywhere, my emotions, and I can't find the peace. And therefore, I'm not very productive, right? And I'm starting to think, oh man, I'm getting back sick again. I'm broke. Something's wrong with me. I better go see my doctor. And all along, I just won't do the things I need to do that say, I love you, Lisa. You are worthy. PRN loves you. You don't have to prove to them anything. You show up every day. You do your work. Support the people. You don't have to come home and do extra 2 and 3 hours of prep time or report writing or brainstorming to prove you are worthy. Right? You got to love you. You got to find those things that bring you at rest before you try to go rest. You don't need a doctor to tell you that. Just for today, common sense, shut it down. That's what I'm going to try because I was on the brink of figuring I needed to go see someone. And I feel so much better today because I shut it down last night. I shut it down. I got off that phone. I stopped getting engaged. Just for today, can you grab your common sense for off the back shelf? I think mine was up here with the flamingos around the hope. Hope, right? Hope that I can figure this out with some common sense, that I don't have to at every turn look for someone to tell me what to do. So just for today, if you're tired of people identifying you as your illness or your past or your trauma, then you got to stop doing it yourself. Dig in, find your common sense. Realize that if your nose running this morning, you might be allergic to pollen. Boom, common sense. If you're can't find inner peace this morning, you might want to try shutting work down at the appropriate time and your social media down. Boom, that's common sense, right? Know who you are, right? Don't get caught up into things at 30 minutes before you go to bed that's going to get you. Some people have to they can't even watch the news, right? Because there's certain things going to be on the news that's going to stimulate their thoughts. You don't need to appeal for that. You don't need to pay a professional $500 to tell you your mind's overstimulated. It's common sense. What you put in through your eyeballs into your brain is what's going to affect your sleep. There's other things too that maybe you need to see a doctor about. But try, just for today, consider adding to your journey, shutting it down, reclaiming your free time, the time that you don't owe to anybody. They're not paying you. Nobody's paying me at 10 o'clock at night. What I'm doing is I'm robbing from my recovery. I'm robbing from my family. Everything that I think I'm going towards, I'm actually going backwards from. Because if I can't rest, settle my mind, and I'm thinking at every turn, I'm broken, I'm sick, look at me, I'm not going to be productive. And I'm going to stay in that cycle of unworthiness because it is going to affect my job if I can't be productive because I've had 2 hours of sleep. Common sense. Can we think about adding a sprinkle of that to our recovery journey? Even if it's just for today. I love you guys. I hope that there was something that you heard today that will encourage you to just dig into things that you already got in your toolbox that you've had ever since you were a little kid. And those are the nuggets of life that our loving grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, our community when we were growing up poured into us, right? Dig in deep, pull from those. You got them. They're still in there. They're still in there, I promise you. Just get them off the shelf, dust them off, and realize that if your nose is running, it's probably you're allergic to pollen. So just maybe, just maybe, You can apply some common sense things in your life today and you'll have more peace. You'll sleep better. You'll be more productive tomorrow, just for today. Let's try that, okay? Recovery doesn't have to be hard all the time, right? It doesn't. You have inside of you everything you need. And a lot of it came from history, from the people that loved you way before you were even born, right? Came from a higher power. It just came. It just comes, right? Claim it. You don't need at every whim somebody telling you how to live your life. In recovery, we can do this. We can do this. We can rekindle our common sense and live the life. Be the model for recovery. That we got to dig in hard. Common sense, next level recovery. You didn't think about it like that, did you? But it is. I see people every day in recovery. That's what I do for a living. And I see people putting their common sense on the back burner and looking for someone to tell them what to do. And when they hear it, they don't even realize most of the things that people say, especially in peer sport, are just common sense. Just for today, let's dust off that common sense and put it back. All right, guys, I love you. Have a great day, and we'll see you Friday. Just for today at 6:30, and um, see what's going to happen then, right? But guys, go out and grab your day. It's cold. It's going to get warmer, and hope to see you Friday. And um, want to hear about your common sense adventures maybe for the week. But I know that's what I'm digging into in my own recovery walk and see if I can save myself some time and money and feel at peace and feel like I got this. I got this. Just for today, guys. I love you. We'll see you on Friday. Bye.